What is up, YouTube? I'm gonna make a little video on what all it took to put the 4L80 in my truck. So it was a 4L60 to 4L80 swap. Obviously, it's a 2005 half-ton Silverado. On a side note, I hope everyone's having a good Friday night. I feel like I'm always wearing the same hat and same clothing on my videos. It's just what I wear to work. So this is what you get, because I usually make these videos when I get home after work. I do work second shift, but hope everybody's enjoying their Friday night with everything going on in the world. I know it's getting crazy. Can't wait for shit to open back up, obviously. Go to some events and Cletus and Cars or something. But yeah, I thought I'd just make a little video to kind of give you the rundown on what all it took and the prices on everything. Excuse me. Just to clear things up. I know a lot of people make videos on this. I was watching a channel or a guy I followed today. He's doing it in his burnout truck, and he was saying how hard it is and how expensive it is. It's not that bad. So I paid $400 for the transmission. It's out of like a 2004 Express van, like one of those panel vans. I got it off a guy on Marketplace, 400 bucks. He said it had a little over 100,000 miles on it. I went ahead and got it rebuilt from a guy up the road that does trans rebuilds. He's kind of a good friend, so I gave him a couple cases of beer and 250 bucks for the rebuild. Obviously, if you take it to a trans shop, it's probably gonna be a little more than that, but if you know somebody like me, maybe they can cut you a deal. Yeah, 400 for the trans, 250 for the trans rebuild, $1,000 for the converter. This is a big gray area. I see people sometimes put the 6.0 flex plate, on the 5.3 to bolt up to the 4L80. I mean, obviously that would work, but you have to get a little spacer, I think. I don't know, I didn't do it that way. I got a direct bolt converter from Circle D. It bolts, mounts to the trans and bolts to a 5.3 flex plate. So there's only 3 places for the bolt for a 4.853. It's a direct bolt converter. You don't have to change your flex plate. You don't have to get a spacer, nothing. Bolts directly to your engine. It was a lot easier than worrying about a spacer and all that crap, in my opinion. So yeah, that was $1,000 from Circle D. It's a 4,000 stall, which honestly is a little loose, but I drive it daily, no issues. The trans shift's good. The lockup works. It is a lockup converter. Great product in my opinion. So that's the route I would go. Direct bolt, screw that spacer, flex plate swap deal. I paid $45 for a trans filter. Probably a good idea to replace the trans filter, especially if you're getting it rebuilt. Why not? I paid $16 for the U-joint, which allows you to adapt the stock 4L80 yoke to your 1500 drive shaft. It's Moog ball joint. Yeah, why do I always say ball joint? Moog U-joint, number 447. It was $16 from Summit. And 2 of the caps are bigger, goes to the yoke. 2 of the caps are smaller, it goes to your drive shaft. Boom, slides right in. I didn't have to cut it down. I didn't have to cut the drive shaft. Obviously, it's a 2-piece drive shaft being an extended cab. I've never done this in a single cab. I hear people saying that they have to cut the drive shaft, shorten it. I did not. I paid $286 for the swap harness, which plugs into the circle connector on the trans and the circle connector from your wiring harness. Boom, plug it in. Simple as that. Obviously, my dad did a little tweaking on my shift points on HP tuners, maxed out my line pressures, but other than that, it's really plug and play. I drove it before he did anything with HP tuners in it. It was a little laggy, but I mean, it still shifted fine, drove fine. So that brings us to a grand total of $1997. So a little under $2,000 is what I have in that swap. Obviously, you can probably find a trans cheaper. I wish I would have now, especially since I got it rebuilt, but it is what it is. The guy that I talked to and got it off of seemed like a quality guy, knew his LS stuff, knew the swap deal and everything, and so I went with that. A few other little points I want to make. I did not do any pin swapping. I did not wire in a speed sensor. That swap harness, like I said, is just the circle connector to the trans, circle connector to your wiring harness, and that's it. You plug your speed sensor into the rear speed sensor on the trans, on the 4L80, and you leave the front one unplugged. I put a little cap over it just in case, I don't know, something happened or came up where I needed to use it so it wasn't all clogged full of dirt and road grime. But there's nothing plugged into the front speed sensor on the 4L80. I just used the rear one. I use my stock cross member. I literally just cut the center section out. Cut like, I think it was like what did it? I think I used like 5/16 plate. So I cut the center section out of the cross member, and then cut a little like 5/16, obviously shortened it 5/16 on each side, and put a flat plate right there. So you got a flat plate here, and your center section is just moved back to occupy the 4L80. And I didn't buy I saw like $180 cross member. I was like, screw that. I got a welder, and that worked out great. Like I said, I did not shorten my drive shaft, nothing. That U-joint lets you use the stock 4L80 yoke, and yeah, everything's working great. I see people make this a lot harder than what it is, and it's not. It's pretty simple. The hardest part was honestly the cross member and just getting the trans up in there. I don't have a lift or anything, and my truck's lowered, so it was kind of a pain in the ass. But you know, with a little motivation and hard work and elbow grease, get your buddies and a couple Bud Lights, and you'll have it done in a day. It's not hard. I paid a little under $2,000 for this swap. Obviously, you can do it a lot cheaper. You don't have to get a 4,000 stall. I'm sure that made the converter a little more expensive. You can find a cheaper trans if you go to the junkyard. You can probably pull one for a couple $100. And yeah, hopefully this is helpful, guys. I just wanted to clear everything up because I see videos and I don't know, people talk about it being hard and so expensive. It's really not. It's really not. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'm gonna subscribe for more, and hit that bell notification. Any comments, questions, concerns, hit me up on Instagram or just comment on this video. Thanks, guys.